This is the Blue Collar Future podcast where we talk about the future of trade work. Guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode. Some of you who follow me on Instagram may have seen yesterday that I commented or put it on my story that I was going to be talking about a reel that I posted. This is the Blue Collar Future. Obviously, we talk about trade work. We talk about the future of trade work, which is a little hazy in its meaning. I take that as we talk about technology, we talk about how to improve going forward in the future of trade work, as you might say, and taking that as debunking misconceptions about health and about the way trade work affects us and our bodies, because there's such a misconception about health in this country, in the US. I obviously have some listeners that aren't from the US, but even across the world, there's a misconception about health in general. And it's now that we're in the information age where information is so accessible, people are more stubborn than ever because there's so much information that they don't know what to listen to. And it's funny, you post anything about health online and you get haters, especially if you talk about it with regards to blue collar work. If you talk about working out while in a blue collar job, you get all sorts of hate from people that have never even done it and are taking their experience that doesn't apply and applying it somehow to this scenario of a younger person who's working out and working in the trades, almost completely denying that there would be anybody else older, more experienced, more seasoned in the trades that is actually taking care of themselves and it actually works for, almost as if it's a young man's game to be doing what I'm talking about. So I posted a reel the other day, and we're going to kind of analyze that reel, talk about some of the misconceptions surrounding what the comments were about, talk about kind of some things to do and why I recommend what I recommend, and how many different things can affect your health more than your work. And that's the key word, is more. Your work may affect your health, but it only does in any significant amount because of a poor health habit, lifestyle circumstance pre-existing that's already there. So if you're working in a trade job and you're not taking care of yourself, you're going to break your body down. But that's in any scenario if you're not doing that. I mean, look at our country and how many people are massively overweight all across the board, super unhealthy, dealing with back problems, shoulder problems, knee problems. Not very many of them are actually in blue collar work. And yet we're taking this same amount of people really that are having these issues in a blue collar circumstance and acting as if it's the work that's the reason, because it's easier to pass the buck onto somebody else. Before we get into that, I want to thank everybody for their support. Up till now, it's been awesome. This podcast is going to continue going and growing. It takes a lot to run a podcast, a lot of time and energy and effort. And if you would like to show your support, share it with someone who you think will get something out of it. Leave a rating and review. It all helps. Subscribe to YouTube. And if you want to go the extra mile, subscribe to the Blue Collar Premium on Apple Podcasts. It's a little bit of a monetary way to support the podcast because it costs money to keep this going. And it's an investment for me to help people. And I just want to find a way to give you more value while allowing people to support the podcast in a meager way. There may be some apparel coming. I've talked about that for a long time. I just haven't gotten to it. Might be bringing up some other ways to support the podcast. But for now, sharing with any of your friends that you think they might like this podcast, and subscribing to our channels and to the Blue Collar Premium is some of the best ways to do this. The Blue Collar Premium is longer, uncut interview episodes. Those are also available on YouTube, but if you want to listen to the audio versions, they're on here. And we also we'll never have any ads. There's no ads on this right now, but there will never be any ads, and there's no podcast introductions, intros, or anything. Just go straight to the episode, and it's the full uncut episode. So let's get into this deal. So first of all, I want to shout out to Jesse Demler for this idea, this take care of your shit and it will take care of you. I talked about this on my podcast with him, that's why I wanted to have him on. I have been on this train of thought for a very long time, almost the whole time I've been working in concrete, and it has been super beneficial for me. And there has been such a massive pushback to me from everybody I know. When I saw him, I resonated very well with his motto, this take care of your shit and it will take care of you. So many people of all ages complain about back problems and their back hurting and feeling like garbage and blaming it on the work. Really, they blame it on the work. And when I started taking care of myself, I was already young, but had been in the trades for a while. And my body hurt. It didn't feel good. And I was looking for anything I could do to improve that scenario. And I started working out. And almost immediately, I felt better. There are times where I'm sore from training in the gym, and it makes working on the job a little bit, I wouldn't say miserable, but not as fun. It wouldn't be, it's not very enjoyable. There are times I will say that when I'm sore, it's no fun. But being sore from training far beats being sore and miserable and hurting from the work and the crappy lifestyle and habits. So I made this video caption, take care of your shit and it will take care of you. And I've made a few like that. And I told Jesse that I was going to start adding on to this video series. And it starts off with me saying these common things that I've heard. Oh, you work in concrete. That's hard. In quotations in the video. You must be tired all the time. Get ready for that back surgery. I hear your shoulders won't last long either. And I go on to say, thanks for your concern, but I'm fine. Exercising is healing. Active recovery. Your job isn't as hard on your body as you think, or as hard as your habits are on your body. We have a problem with unhealthy lifestyles, not hard labor. I made this video because there are so many misconceptions about what's actually affecting your body. And most of these are coming from people that have spent their life in the trades, super unhealthy, rolling out of bed, stopping at the gas station for their breakfast, gas station or fast food for lunch, going home, drinking a 12 pack, not getting enough sleep, showing up for work the next day, starting off terrible from the day before, doing that for their whole life. And you'll see them, they're complaining about their back, but they're 50 or even 20, 50, 100 pounds overweight, carrying that around all day while they're doing a manual job. And it's ridiculous. It's a clown world we live in. I'm not even going to lie about it. People want to pass the buck onto anything that is out of their control. People are unhealthy as ever in the US. And I actually had somebody on another video point out that we aren't as unhealthy as I think. In fact, they said, we aren't as unhealthy as you think, bud. And they link to an article. And I go and look at that article, and you can't click on it in the comments, but I typed it in on my computer. And it blew my mind because the article that this person linked to said that the US was in the top 5 least healthy countries in the world. The US. It wasn't even in the top 20 on the healthy list. If I had this website still pulled up, which I'm sure I do on my phone somewhere, I would go through and analyze this scenario. Just went and looked for the link, but it's not that hard to look up healthiest countries in the world and just see what's there. I went and found a different one that puts the US at the bottom, and the healthiest country on their index is, well, most of them really are in the high 80s, low 90s, and the US is a 73 on this scale. You go look at just about any list, US isn't even going to be in the top 20 of the health index, the global security health security index. And it's pretty shocking because people don't even understand that, and why somebody would even link to a website that shows that how actually unhealthy we are is, it blows my mind. Oh, I found the exact one. Sorry for this. Sorry for this tangent here. I wasn't prepared with this. So if you look at this, Spain is the healthiest country in the world with a health index of 92.75. And on this website, worldpopulationreview.com, the least healthy country in the world is the United States with a health index of 16 compared to Spain's 92.75. Where they're getting those numbers, I don't know, but everywhere on their lists is shows the United States as their least healthy country. How you can even think that we are in a good place health wise is absolutely insane. And why people blame everything on their work instead of their crappy habits blows my mind. So, US, not even in it is the least healthy country in the world based on this World Population Review website. And again, not even in I mean, they are almost every list that even includes them in, they're the least healthy. Everybody wants to pass the buck to their job, to whatever it is, instead of looking at habits, sleep, diet, physical health, anything else that could be affecting the way that they live. It's the easy way out. No responsibility. Yep. Just what I do is making me unhealthy. It's breaking down my body, whatever. If we take a look at the average blue collar lifestyle, wake up 30 minutes before you need to be at work, get energy drinks and donuts from the gas station or whatever else that garbage that you can find at the gas station to eat for breakfast. And I do this sometimes. Doing all of these things together is what the problem is. Filling up on garbage first thing in the morning, eating gas station food or fast food for lunch at work, greasy, ill prepped garbage that is not fueling your body properly. Get done at work, go home and sit on the couch, stuff yourself with more trash, complaining about your body, the way you feel, acting like doing that is recovery. Drink a 12 pack of beer, go to bed late and on a buzz, which disrupts your sleep, and wake up and start off crappy again to do the same thing over and over again. Now, what doesn't work about this? Kind of break down some of these. When you wake up even 30 minutes earlier than you would normally work, your body and you get ready for the day, by the way, your body has time to adjust to being awake, to you have time to prepare, to fuel properly, to drink some water, be properly hydrated, and all of that stuff. You have time to be prepared for the day. And I know because I've done it. A lot of these things I used to do all the time across the board. I used to wake up just before I need to go to work. I used to get gas station food for lunch or for breakfast and for lunch and drink energy drinks all day and go home and really not have that great of a meal not work out, not do anything, go to bed, start over. I never did the alcohol, which I'm very grateful for. But I've done this stuff. Waking up just barely earlier than you need to be at work doesn't work. Doesn't allow you to have time to prepare, to be ready for your day. Starting your morning with garbage starts your metabolism off on the wrong foot. Breakfast is important not because of when you do it, but how and what with. Because the first thing that you eat after you're breaking your fast tells your body what needs to happen. So when you're eating a bunch of junk food, you're confusing your body, really. It doesn't matter when or even that you do it early, like right when you wake up. It matters what you do it with. Feeding your body with more junk for lunch is like filling up your car with old fuel or not the proper octane. Everybody knows that if you're running a car that needs 91 octane fuel and you put in 85, doesn't run right. And even in your owner's manuals on your cars, it's going to say an octane specification. A lot of the food nowadays does not meet your octane specification for your body. Just because your body can do it and process it because it's edible doesn't mean that it is fueling your body the way it needs to be fueled. Sitting down isn't good for you in general. Look at all these people with desk jobs that are complaining about their back. There's a lot of people that complain about their back and have back issues that sit at a desk. And somehow we're comparing that, or not even comparing that, we're ignoring that and saying it's because of the work. So is it because of the manual labor or is it because of sitting down? What is it? Sitting down is actually not good for you. We're not meant to sit. Our bodies thrive with movement. Every time you just sit down and are complacent, there's a noticeable difference in the way that you feel. Again, I know this, everybody knows this inherently, but they don't want to because we've been told our whole life that you need your rest after a day of work. And nobody really knows what that is. Sitting down on the couch watching TV is not recovery. It does not help your body recover. Most of your recovery happens while you sleep. So that brings us to our next point. If you're going home and drinking a 12 pack of beer and you have alcohol in your system when you go to bed, and even maybe you drank alcohol or took edibles to go to sleep or melatonin because you quote unquote need them to sleep, that is a disrupted sleep and your full recovery does not happen. So not only are most people going to bed on a buzz, getting really like a half sleep, they're not sleeping long enough to begin with. Not because you go home, sit on the couch all night, watch TV, whatever, go to bed late on a buzz to wake up the next morning and start over. So you already start off every day not having enough recovery. A lot of times, the way you feel in one day depends on what you did the day before. And that goes with, say, you went to the gym and you worked out. You're sore the next day because your body is healing itself and you're feeling the effects of it the day after. It's the same thing with your body. You feel the effects of what you put in your body the next day. So if you're going to bed, you're doing all of this throughout your day. At the end of the day, you're drinking alcohol, going to bed with a disrupted sleep, waking up the next morning, you're going to feel the effects of all of that stuff the day before, and it's going to feel like crap. And most people after that scenario want to pass it on to the work instead of everything else they did. If you don't get enough sleep, also, you don't get the proper recovery. And enough sleep depends on the person. It varies person to person, but really 6 to 8 hours is enough. A lot of people, enough is 6 hours of sleep. And a lot of people are getting either not enough or way too much sleep because after a certain point, sleep doesn't help. You can't catch up on sleep one night because you didn't sleep enough the night before. It doesn't work like that. All of these things cause you to start off your day worse than what you had planned on. Why does working out help? Progressive overload on your body kicks your body into gear and gives your body a reason to build and build back stronger. It's a shock to your system, and it's something difficult and harder than you normally do. Why is progressive overload important, and why am I bringing this up with working out? You don't get progressive overload on the job. The whole reason why you train and you work out is to make it incrementally harder every time. Progressive overload. There is no way to do progressive overload on a job site. A lot of people see a lot of benefits and health from working their first year in a manual labor job, and it's because their body is getting used to it over the time. But once you're used to the manual labor job, your body no longer has that constant incremental change in difficulty to stimulate your body into a growth scenario. You're just doing the same thing over and over again, and all that repetitive movement wears your body down. No, you don't need to do it every day either. So why working out helps is you can have this progressive overload. You can do it 3 times a week, and you can have your body be building back stronger than it would be otherwise and be better. And you only need 3 times a week. Mobility is important as well, i.e., stretching. And mobility is important because a lot of injuries happen at work because of a lack of mobility. It happens outside your range of mobility, which is why stretching is important. Working on your mobility is important. A lot of those injuries also happen because of a lack of strength, or maybe you are worn down in one place and you don't have enough muscle built around this one repetitive movement that gets worked constantly to support when you've been working all day and you wear down this muscle and then an injury happens. What people think gives you energy isn't the same either. Working out gives you energy. And that's a concept that doesn't make sense to a lot of people, because a lot of people say they don't have the energy to work out, but you get the energy to work out by doing it. When I started working out myself, the energy levels I had increased exponentially. And every time I skip a workout or skip a couple workouts, I can feel it. I feel tired more often. Every time I'm hitting all 3 of my workouts every week, I feel great. People think that eating gives you energy. It doesn't. When you eat and you eat a big meal, your body takes a bunch of energy to process that food, and it makes you feel tired. So what do all these have to do with each other? I've been jumping around a little bit. Sorry for that. I have a lot of thoughts on this. Why I suggest working out is because of all these things I've mentioned. Progressive overload, your body can build back better and stronger, and it gives you energy, even though people may not think it does. And it is an actual actionable, easy, and measurable first step. Okay, it's a first step to taking on your all of your habits. It's the first habit that's really pretty easy to implement. And with it, a chain reaction starts. When you start working out, usually you're going to want to drink more water inherently. You're going to want better food because the food that you're eating is going to make you noticeably feel like crap. You're going to want more sleep, and you're going to feel more. Your sleep is going to feel better because there's more to recover in that time. And when you start doing all of this, your body is going to start adapting to it. Kicks everything into gear. You don't need very much time. A lot of people complain about everything that they want to change, like meal prepping and making sure they have enough water and making sure they have enough sleep and all of this stuff. And the complaint is always time, not having enough time, not having enough time to work out. People think that they need to work out every single day for hours. Every time I mention working out, it's like people think that I'm talking about training for a powerlifting meet or trying to be a bodybuilder or something, spending hours in the gym every single day. I've only ever even done 3 times a week for 45 minutes. That's it. All you need. And really, you can make it work with 2 days a week and a lot of times even one day a week, especially where you're still active every day. If you are inactive, I would say that 3 times a week should be a minimum, but you can make it work off of 1 time a week with huge results. It doesn't take that much time. And it is the first actionable step to causing a chain reaction in everything else that you do in your whole life. So, this is where I'm coming from with all of this information on these reels that I'm creating. What I saw people disagreeing with and commenting about, and a lot of them are pretty funny. They're like, I'll see you in 10 years, which I heard ironically almost 10 years ago. A bunch of people say already. And I told the person who commented that, and they're like, you're lying and it hurts. So, no real rebuttal to anything I say, putting it off to a future date because this person doesn't believe in this process and doesn't think that it can be true. So obviously, yeah, down the road, you're going to have problems. Predictions and expectations that aren't true. You got soft hands, or I see a lot of soft-handed comments in here. Wait till you're my age, or wait till you're 30 or 40 plus, whatever. That's a funny one. I've been hearing that. It seems like it gets 10 years farther every single year. And people who are my age right now, or were my age right now when I started, were saying it too. Wait till you're my age. Wait till you get to be my age, as if age has something to do with it. I saw a little tangent on here. I saw a 90-year-old lady doing gymnastics. Okay, she was holding herself parallel on 2 parallel bars with just her hands. Okay, there's a lot of people in their 20s that can't even do that. I don't even think I can do that. This lady's 90. Age is it's such a cliche to say age is just a number, but it is literally just a number. And how you feel is more up here and based on what you've done in your life to get to that point. Here's another one. Hate to break it to you, bud, but it's not as unavoidable as you think, having all these injuries. And I hate to break it to you, bud, but it isn't as big of a problem as you think. I don't know anybody in the trades that has done this that still complains about how much they hurt and about how bad their body is and has had, all these multiple surgeries and back surgeries, replacements, and all that stuff. The people that have that stuff happen don't take care of themselves, and it's visible. It's visible through the things that they do, through the way that they look. It's obviously they don't take care of themselves. And then they'll go ahead and blame it on the job because maybe something will happen on the job or whatever it is. People go straight to the accident scenarios to prove that it's hard on the body. You know, hate to break it to you, but, as an electrician, you can get shot to death, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not what we're talking about. You just don't want to agree that your job isn't as hard as on your body as you think. Yeah, there's accidents. We're talking about um, stress related injuries. We're not talking about accidental injuries, which do happen. And that's not, nobody said that that doesn't happen. But people jump straight to that because they want to have a straw man argument that you can't rebuttal, can't have a rebuttal to prove you wrong or me wrong. You're just a laborer, is something a lot of people will say. Some random experience people will bring up with no context. I know a guy that was athletic and strong, and he slipped a disc one time, so it takes its toll. Okay. Just so this person's athletic and strong, does that mean they're taking care of themselves? Does that mean that they were drinking enough water, they had a good diet, they're getting enough sleep? A lot of these injuries happen because of improper hydration and not enough sleep. And there's no way to see that from these scenarios that these people bring up about some accidental injury that has nothing to do with what this is about. Somebody was commenting and saying, "Tell me when you hit 40 plus, we all slow down." And then goes on to say, "Construction workers don't work that hard anyways." And I'm like, okay, what is the point of this comment? The the disagreements with a lot of what I post is a lot of people that take what I'm talking about personally and then try to bring up things that don't have any correlation with the topic at hand to try to act like it doesn't hold value or it doesn't hold true. At the end of the day, people are starting to come around to the idea that your habits are extremely important in your life, and your sleep, your hydration, your diet, all of that stuff affects what you do so much that you can't even blame it on your job. How are you going to tell me that it is the work when there are countless people in our country that are having these problems that don't do that work? They don't even do blue collar work or manual labor work, and they're still in this situation. There's more of a correlation between unhealthiness than there is between the work and the injuries. If you're ruling out accidental injuries, which do happen because people do get killed on the job, they get injured on the job through things that aren't on their control. We're talking about over time stress related injuries, people having backs that just hurt and then they go and get a surgery to fix it or whatever, because that happens a lot, but it happens everywhere. It doesn't just happen on the job. And if this, if you were able to follow this, I applaud you. I had a lot of thoughts on this, but to kind of bring it back to the start, blue collar lifestyle, the average blue collar lifestyle doesn't work. And whether or not you do exactly what I outlined or not isn't the point. It's all of these little decisions throughout your day that set you up for failure. I think one of the most important things is the diet and the fact that people aren't getting enough water or sleep. And so many people act like they can't sleep without their their beer before they go to bed, or um, their gummies or their melatonin or whatever. And a lot of times you can't do that because of so many other decisions that lead up to that point. And really, if you're not tired before you go to bed, then you probably haven't been involved enough in your day. You probably haven't had enough sleep, I mean enough food, probably haven't had enough water. Your body's not going to operate correctly, but your body is literally made to sleep, rise with the sun and go to bed with the sun. It's made to do that. And if you can't sleep, there's so many other problems that can be visited rather than just patching it up with a substance. Blue collar lifestyle, the typical blue collar lifestyle doesn't work, and it sets you up for failure in all these other areas. And why I suggest working out is because it is a good first step. That's all. There's a lot of other things that you can do and other things that are important. And a lot of people like to point that out, saying things like, I know where you're coming from, but your diet is important, or you better make sure you're eating enough food or drinking enough water. And I'm like, yeah, that's important. That's true. Nobody's saying it's not. In fact, what I'm saying is you need to do all that stuff, but it's too hard to turn a dime and be on top of all of that stuff. Working out is a good way to kick your body into gear and to add one little habit over time. What I would say to do if you are in a scenario where you aren't happy with your health and you aren't happy with your situation is I would start working out and start with 3 times a week. And when you make that a habit, maybe start measuring your water intake. And when you make that a habit, maybe you cut out alcohol or you add in some sort of a calorie goal or a protein goal. And then once you get that habit down, I would add in stretching and mobility. And once you get all of these things going and you have all of these established habits and you've been doing them for long enough and keeping them going, you will feel amazing, way better than you ever have. And you'll start to realize how much of a detriment it was to you to live like that. And I'll leave you with this. Take care of your body and it will take care of you. Your work is not as hard on your body as you think. We are literally built for it. We are built to use our hands, pick things up, put things down. It's in our anatomy and our construction. We are not made to sit around, regardless of whatever these people are saying. We're not meant to sit around all day. We're meant to move. Your body heals with movement, not with sitting around. Your sleep is enough healing and recovery for you if your body is functioning properly. Your sleep is enough recovery. And I will leave you with that. If you like this episode, share it with a friend, and we will see you next week.